Good morrow, Twitterverse, and all other verses that might be listening, and even choruses if they're tuning in. This is North American Harness Update Extra, as we're calling it right now, bringing to you a quick analysis of the Pick 5 carryover over at the Meadows racetrack for Saturday, December 16th. I am joined by my co-hosts, Mike Ribose and Rod Alms Jr. We're going to quickly run through this Pick 5 sequence. Again, $20,000 carryover this pool. Now, Mike, you play the Meadows often. What do you think this pool could get to?
I'm thinking around 100,000 tomorrow, especially it's a I think 4-day carryover there. That's a good carryover. Guaranteed pool I think is 50,000. It would probably get close to 90 or 100. I'm thinking.
Well, with that said, let's roll right into it. I know you got a big ticket brewing, I got a small ticket brewing, and Rod's probably got some coffee brewing. This 8th race is a winners of 10,000 preferred pace for a purse of $20,000. Starting off with you, Mike, you take 3
deep to start. The 2 Sam Hill, a horse that's near and dear to me. One of my good friends owns this horse, but he also has a huge chance. He's made over 88,000 this year, was second last time at this level, draws inside. He's always sharp, always ready to go, and he does very well against these. The 4 Attaboy Dan, this horse has a ton of class, 670,000. This is for Burke. This horse won 8 times last year, almost 200,000. I think was horse of the year at the Meadows. Not so many starts this year though. Was decent in January and laid up until December. Last time just got the feet wet a little bit. I think we'll be better this time. And then the 7 is another Burke horse, Lincoln James. Took a month off, 2 qualifiers. This horse has 11 wins this year at this level. 2, 4, and 7 to start.
Rod, give us your analysis.
I'm going 2, 4, and 8. Similar reasons on the 2. Raced well last time. I think he's got a big shot to do some damage here against a similar type of field. 4, Attaboy Dan, second off the qualifier, must use here. And then the 8, Southwind Amazon, I'm using. Don't like the post, but I think he's going to leave, and he should be forwardly placed throughout, and I think he's got a big chance if he does get an early spot.
I take 2 here to start out, and I only go 2 deep through most of the sequence. The 4 Attaboy Dan making his second start since going on layoff earlier this year. That last race, a total toss, but still finished decently to finish 4th. Should probably improve off that effort. And I also throw on the 6, A Real Miracle, who makes his second start off of a slight gap. Hadn't raced for 2 weeks, but launched to the front against the winners of Company last out. Parked through the quarter, faded through the rest of the mile. That race seems uncharacteristic of him, as he's been racing very well at this company in his last couple of starts. So I'm looking for him to bounce back, possibly at a price. Otherwise, this race seems centered around Attaboy Dan. I'm 4-6. Second leg of the sequence is race number 9. It's a conditioned trot, non-winners of 2 for a purse of $10,500. 9 lineup here. We had a bit of a discussion about this beforehand, basically around the 5 #hope. I know, Mike, you thought about singling her, but you decided to go 3 deep.
Yeah, the problem with singling her is she's 1 for 26, so always races well, always right there, but just never seems to find a way to the winner's circle. Draws well again, usually comes from behind. Will be there again, but can she finish it off? That's the question. So I'm going to use her plus the 8, Keystone Violet, who broke the maiden 2 back in a decent race, 58-4, came home 29-3, and then stepped into the 14 condition claimers, which at the Meadows is a class that usually gets a lot of tough horses, and those are 1-3 condition claimers. So you can have horses that have 3 lifetime wins in there, and a lot of times they're knocking heads. This horse was favored in there. Draws outside, but I'm going to use. And then the 9 Swan's Way. This is a horse for Paul Kennedy that was parked last time. Raced okay, just walked home in 31. Was favored. Can beat these horses, if they get a little bit of a setup. So 5, 8, 9 in there.
Now, Rod, do you see this race as centered around the 5, or do you also go a bit deeper?
I'm a little bit deeper as well. Same type of thought process, I guess, as Mike, but I'm going 5, 7, 8, 9 here. I have nothing to add on the 5. I think he got it used, but again, 1 for 26 lifetime, 1 for 24 this year. The 7, Every Rose Has a Thorn. I'm using, broke last time. You might get a little bit more of a cautious drive tomorrow, but this horse is capable, and prior to that break, had been racing really well. The 8, I'm gonna throw this one on. Should be leaving and should look to get to the front and then back it down if possible, and hope somebody comes at him, gives him a 2-hole trip here. And then the 9, first over last week, raced really well. I think if this one picks up cover or even leaves, I can see this horse getting out of there pretty good. Either setup should be fine for this horse. So 5, 7, 8, 9.
I also see the 9 getting out pretty well, which is why I use her, and I also use the 5 #hope. Not really much more to add about those two. Purely looking at this race in terms of who's going to be up close, because rarely do you see horses closing to win these lower level condition races, and most of the time, if any horse is in the pocket or first over, they're usually in the best spot to win. Third leg of the sequence is race number 10 on 5-9 in the second leg. Here's the third leg. It's a winners of 5, but not more than 7. If any of these horses have more than 7 wins, I swear to God, I can't really do anything about it. However, we have, I think, 9 horses lining up here. I am correct, 9 horses lining up. We had another discussion about this one because I'm 2 deep again, but Mike, you're 4 deep. Oh, that's fantastic, Rod. Thank you very much for that note. But Mike, you're 4 deep. Give us a talk about that.
Using the 2, Lord of Winterfell. Draws inside this time, had the second tier last time, just recently added Lasix, and this horse is a hard knocker, always tries, always seems to be right there. Came home 28-2 last time, but just missed to the Dark Shadow, who's won a couple in a row there. This horse needs to be used on draw alone. The 5, Ideal Ace, was parked every step last time. Ray seemed to like this horse. He talked to me, and this horse has won 5 races this year. It's just a matter of trip with him. He needs to get a decent spot early, and then he can come home late. So he's a must-use, I think, at a price. The 6, Mayfield Duke, comes back from Philly, where was facing better ones, numbers of 10 and numbers of 15,000 conditions, and racing fine. A couple of thirds back. This horse has raced well here before. Won this condition on October 28th. And then the 7, low card. I'm using this horse purely because it's Aaron Merriman. Drove the horse last time. To a 3rd place finish. He can get a horse away from there. I expect this horse to be up there early. Could trip out in the pocket. 2, 5, 6, 7 in here.
I'm going 2, 3, 6 here. 2, I got nothing really to add. Raced well last time. Sat the rail, but this one is with the inside draw is going to get away close and should be, within striking distance the whole way, if not in the 2-hole. The 3 is going to go to the lead. I don't expect anything else from this horse. If he gets soft enough fractions, he can get there. And then the 6, this one, Brian Zent drops in class and, has a win 6 starts back. Has just been average against slightly better at Philly. So, I think the move back here, decent post. We'll probably look to follow some cover and be passing horses late, hopefully. 2, 3, 6.
I vehemently despise Better's Dream, which is why I take the 5 and the 6 here. Mike said I talked him into the 5. I like the fact that this horse has gone rough trips. 3 starts ago, 1 at this level, albeit it was in the slop first over. 4 starts ago, raced very well before winning at this level in the slop. Toss's race 2 starts back as the favorite. He's coming off a really good mile of parking, ended up finishing 9th, but trust me, that's much better just because he was at least put into the mix, having his first start in about 2 weeks. And we talked about Mayfield Duke. He's kind of the class in this race. He raced decently when he was up against this group back in late October, early November, and late November, all through the month of November, really. But then shipped over to Philly, put in 2 okay miles against numbers of 15,000. Definitely dropping here. Will have to be forwardly placed in order to really be in contention, or it could also pick up cover to get into the mix as well. I'm 5-6, jonesing for a price in that leg fourth leg of this sequence, of this pick 5 sequence, is race number 11. It's an hours at $7,500 in the last 5 starts. Purse of $11,000 here. Sending it off to you, Mike. You're again 4 deep.
4 deep, starting with the 2 Definity. This horse won last time, and when he gets good, he typically goes to the front and kind of plays catch me if you can. I worked last time. He got picked off 2 back, but he draws well, and I expect him to be on the front again. The 4 Silver Hill Blaze drops from numbers of 11,000. This horse has been facing better. Montana Pablo, Arthur Pendragon, those are good horses. He won numbers of 5,000, 3 back. He's drawn well also. I would expect a speed try in here. The 8 Nitro Sealster also drops. Was better, I thought, last year, but, still capable this year, dropping to this level. And I would expect, an early spot from this gate. And then the 9 Doing Donuts, who is a class horse, has won almost 400,000 the hard way around here. Won last time when dropped to numbers of 5,000. Is drawn outside, but Wilder always drives this horse. And, he seems to find a way to win these spots. He's certainly capable. 2, 4, 8, and 9.
Rod, I would really be appreciative if you give us what you have.
I've got 4 and 8. I have nothing clever really. 2 favorites here. Not really much to add to what Mike said. The one thing I will add on the 8, this is a tougher spot here, but I do like this horse. I think he got used really hard last time, and that just took the race out of him. So I'm looking for him to get a little bit of an easier trip here in this race. So 4 and 8.
On to 4, Silver Hill Blaze has class. Didn't really get put much into the race. That sentence made no sense, but it also did at the same time. Has raced well against similar competition, or at least lower competition, winning up against numbers of $5,000 bunch 3 starts ago, then moving up in class with an optional claiming tag, finished 3rd, going 1st over there. He has the form to be able to do well. And Mike also mentioned Definite, who's coming off of 2 great miles against numbers of 5,000, moving up to this.
That's not how it's pronounced.
But it's Definite.
Don't say it like that.
Definite. 2, 4 for me. He parked the mile in the numbers of 5,000 twice, and he put in 2 great miles doing so. So for me, he's a use. 2, 4, final leg. Race number 12, bottom level pace. Numbers of 3,500 in their last 5 starts. Purse of 5,300. This is the Dyslexics Handicap, brought to you by. I got nothing for that, Mike. You're too deep.
2 deep to finish. The 2 Southern Alley coming off a month layoff and half decent qualifier. We're struggling at the numbers of 7,500, numbers of 5,000. Gets the bottom here. It's won 9 times this year, and it's hard to leave this horse off, especially with Goldberg training. He's won almost $1 million. When he's ready, he's good. And then the 5, Turaco Art Sirocco. This horse, another one Ray liked. Was racing well at numbers of 5,000, roughed up a couple trips out early last time and dropped against Doing Donuts. Was 4th at numbers of 5,000 on November 18th. So draws well. 7 wins this year. Likely going to be a price, and I'm going to use him. So 2 and 5 to finish.
Rod, just give what he to talk.
I'm going 1-2 here. With the 1, I like, last time was first over, just faded late. I think this horse is good enough, and the drop in class, this horse should be a contender throughout. Should get away a bit closer here. The 2, like Mike said, good qualifier, short layoff. This is a game horse, made a ton of money. Tough not to use a horse like this in this type of race, so 1-2 for me.
I am singling the 5, Chucaro Art Circo, primarily because A, I want a price out of this race, and B, I dislike the favorites heavily. Dislike the 6, Cyrus Sealster, dislike the 1, Dateline Hanover, dislike the 2, Southern Alley. Dateline Hanover is just, he's struggled at this level for too long, and he doesn't really show as much promise as the 5 does, at least in terms of trip excuses. Southern Alley, too, we're relying on him to be ready to go at first asking after having some really poor efforts at the end of October and early November. And so the 5 seems to be the livest of this bunch, and if anything, I'm not necessarily sure he'll be that kind of a price. He'll probably be bet to be at least 6 or 7 to 1, judging off of these trips, at least if the public reads the board correct, or reads the program correctly, because this horse has many excuses, and he's been racing well at this level in every start of his last 5 weeks, except 2 starts ago. Tossed that start completely. He's tough, he's rough, and he's got good luck. What rhymes with tough? Here's my ticket. I singled the 5 in the last leg. It's a 50-cent minimum for this pick 5. I am 4-6 with 5-9 with 5-6 with 2-4 with 5. Again, 4-6 with 5-9 with 5-6 with 2-4 with 5. That's $8.50. Mike, what's your ticket?
That's 2-4-7 with 5-8-9 with 2-5-6-7 with 2-4-8-9 with 2-5. It's 144 for 50 cents.
Rod.
2-4-8 with 5-7-8-9 with 2-3-6 with 4-8 with 1-2. It's $72 for 50 cents.
And with that does it for this edition of North American RS Update Extra. Now I speak for everyone where I'm throwing pens, and I also say it's time to go make a bagel. Good night.